structural ability to be able to take that more intensity stuff. And that intensity stuff doesn't have to be running. There's lots of other things that you can do. In fact, you're most probably better off doing things like skipping. Skipping is a really good one to get your heart rate up and stuff like that. So it's remembering when it's applicable and when it's safe to do so. Yeah, hopping, skipping, and skipping. You don't need a rope. You can use a rope, or you can do a little skip. And skipping backwards up a hill, Yvonne, as well. I've been playing around with that. But again, go very careful and make sure there's no traffic and there's nothing to fall over. Yeah, watch out for tractors. Brilliant, excellent. If you're just joining on YouTube and Instagram, let's click go live here. So Wednesdays, we tend to focus a little bit more on movement. But as I say, every session we're always guided by the breath. We're just having a quick chat there about exercise, and we're often told to exercise, and what does it actually mean, exercise? And just looking at sort of like the research is highlighting that you want to be making sure that you're moving and you're getting that functional movement and you're functionally breathing. But it does highlight that if you are doing slightly more intense stuff, now obviously when it's safe to do so, that is really going to help. So it's that combination of the two. It's a bit like when we're talking about Qigong, we're talking about strength and flexibility, strength and softness. It's always that combination. And I would always highlight that when you're doing any exercise, 80% of that exercise is steady state, slow stuff, zone 2 stuff, if you're measuring heart rate, etc. But then your 20% can be really intense, and only intense and getting that heart rate up for a short period of time. The minute we start overdoing it, we start to overtrain. Remember, higher intensity stuff is stress on the system as well. Okay, let's go feet shoulder width apart. Today we're going to focus on that whole spiral movement again in the session today. So we'll just start off with our knocking and just work up from the feet. So just feel the connection into the ground with the feet. I'm just going to zoom my camera out a little bit more. Should be enough. It's good. Feel the connection into the ground. So just notice if you're barefoot, ideally barefoot or in socks, that you can feel the ball of the foot connected to the ground, the heel of the foot connected to the ground. And then soften into the ankles. So notice as the lower leg, the tibia bone connects into the ankles, you're rotating the ankle. And without forcing anything, just visualize as you're moving. Say if I'm rotating to the right, then I'm just very gently drawing my right heel towards my midline. So I don't want you to start forcing anything and twisting anything and breaking anything. So again, as a highlight, is we're not straining anything, but just visualize drawing that right heel if you're going to the right, and then obviously the opposite side, left heel, towards the midline, towards the center. Notice how moving up, you can then feel that into the knees. And again, if anything hurts, you do stop, not forcing anything with the knees. And softness in the knees. So we just got that little bit of softness. So again, we can allow the lower leg bone, the tibia bone, and the femur bone, the upper leg bone, to rotate in the knees. And then coming up to the hips. And again, just noticing what you feel in the hips, rotation in the hips. And then working your way up the spine, light and lifted through the spine, relaxing into the shoulders, the shoulder blades, relaxing into the face, the jaw. Strong spine, strong back of the body, but then just softening and relaxing into the front of the body, into the face, the jaw, the chest, the belly. And then slow it down into water waves. Soften, soften, soften. Now really focus on the rotation through the shoulder joint, the elbow joint. And I'm just going to whiz around so you can watch again what's going on at the back. So I'm scooping, I'm rotating here around the back. So I'm rotating the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist. Shoulder, elbow, wrist. So I'm not just going, oh, just go a bit slower here. I'm rotating, spiraling. Nice and slow and steady. Strong lower body, so nice and strong through the lower body, connected to the ground, and then just very light and lifted with that upper body. You know what happens with the rib cage as well as you're doing this slow, smooth movement. And take a rest. Have a little shake. Shake out the arms and the legs. Let's go into spinal cord breathing. Remember, if you joined in the session on Monday morning when we're on the floor, just doing that very gentle tilt, the pelvis forwards and backwards, and noticing how the spine responded to that. Remember, that's where the movement is starting from. So taking your feet shoulder width apart, let's just start with the hips. So if you're spilling out the front of the pelvis there, you're then tucking the tailbone underneath, spilling out the back of the pelvis. And then just notice how the spine responds. Again, we're not doing anything, we're not trying to move the spine, but how the spine responds to that movement through the pelvis. And then just bringing in that nice morning stretch, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in And then you go at your own pace with this. So follow your breath, what feels a very comfortable breath in and a comfortable breath out. Quiet, soft, easy breathing. Ripple through the spine. I don't know if you can hear the seagulls are going mad around here. I don't know if you can hear them on the mic or not, but they're very loud. Couple more. And then take a rest. And have a little shake if you need a bit of a shake. And then back to shoulder width apart, tall through the spine. We're just going to do that little bit of lateral movement, so shifting pelvis side to side. Again, just tuning with the feet, the contact to the ground with the feet. So it's almost like you're just very softly pushing into the ground. Remember, we're not swinging the hips side to side like this. Pelvis stays parallel to the ground. So you get that little bit of bend in the knee as it shifts side to side. Softness in the knee. And then we can free up the spine on top of that. So let that spine ripple. Very gently letting the head go. If you're moving to the right, your ear follows, left ear goes towards the left shoulder. But remember, it's a consequence. I'm not going, oh, I'm now going to move my ear to shoulder. I go that way, and then the spine ripples all the way up the spine. Feel the rib cage moving. Feel that rib cage. Lateral flexion. And slow it down. Have a little bit of a shake. So there's 3-dimensional movements that we've just done there with that whole spiral rotating, flexing and extending, and then side to side movement, what we call that lateral flexion. And that's important that we have that stability and flexibility, that strength and softness in all of those 3 dimensions, because every time we take a step forwards, all of those movements come into combination. They all work together to keep us moving and flowing in that forward direction. So we were just having that little chat just previously in the Zoom group about if somebody's a little bit tight and you see that sort of like that waddling side to side as they're moving forward. This is what I feel like when I'm going to the loo in the middle of the night. It's like, oh, I'm not awake yet. So there's sort of like that waddle side to side. Or there might be a little bit more weight on one side. And again, this is something that I've noticed with myself, is particularly because I've been running a lot. You have one side of your body that tends to be a little bit more stable. So you're putting quite a lot of weight as you're landing on that side of the body, which is the right side of the body for me. So that side of the body can become a little bit tight. So then you can work into, I need a little bit more fluidity there. So let's just break that down, that take a step. We did this years and years and years ago back in lockdown. So it's quite nice just to come back to this. And if you're new to this, just follow the movement pattern. It's very slow, it's very mindful. So we're going to start with our feet about fist width apart. So we're just going to stand fist width apart and just notice again the connection to the ground. Just take a moment just to feel yourself balanced. Always remember that we're thinking about a really nice strong lower body, light and lifted upper body. And the other really good thing to have in mind is strong back of the body. So it's the spine running through the back of the body, but then softening and relaxing into the front of the body. So particularly the face. Watch anyone exercising who's straining and you'll see it in their face. So relax the face, relax the chest, relax above the chest, soften into the chest, soften into the belly. We don't need loads of tightness. We don't need to be pulling the core in here. Just go with what feels comfortable to support you in this standing position. How evenly are you balanced on the feet? And again, if you're barefoot, you can really feel the connections to the ground, the heel, the ball of the foot. And then just very gently rocking forwards and backwards. So it's a bit like when we do bamboo in the wind at the end, but you've got your eyes closed and you're allowing your body to rock forwards and backwards or side to side. Here we're just very consciously or consciously gently moving forward, so you feel the weight shift onto the ball of the foot. You're gently moving backwards to feel the weight shift on the heel. And notice if you go way right to the edge of the ball of the foot and you feel as if you're going to tip forwards, notice what happens when you just stop that, when you just stop that tip forward. So you just bring that upper body to balance on top of the spine. So again, really slowly, just about to tip forwards, but without tipping forwards. What do? You bring that upper body up. Maybe you use the eyes to come up a little bit as well. So if I'm looking down, if I lift my eyes and head up, whoa, automatically everything just comes back to balance. If I look down, I'll fall down. So just play around with that really subtly. Just tuning into what your body does to actually bring itself back to balance. This is so, so subtle. So you're just gently moving forwards, and then are you noticing, are you really noticing that subtle wave through the spine? See if you can get that. I mean, it's micro movements. This is great for a visual class, isn't it? Because nobody's moving, or it looks as if nobody's moving. But see if you can just feel as you move forwards, there's that little ripple wave through the spine to stay tall. And then find that sweet spot where you're just balanced. And then the same thing, just shifting the weight back slightly How do you respond if you're going, and again, I'm not throwing myself back where I have to grab and tighten everything. It's literally that point where you go back and then you go, oh, there's a nice ripple, a very subtle wave. So just shifting the weight back a little bit and then noticing how we keep that upper body balanced. Subtle movements. And just have a little shake if you need a little bit of a shake out. I think what we're aiming for is to think about the strength when we're moving forwards, when we're walking, when we're running, is right in the core of the body, right deep into the center of the body. And by core, I don't just mean here, I mean that center line. Because what we tend to do, and we're all, I do this, everybody does this, is we tend to tighten everything up from the outside and start to move like this. But if we can just take our time just to tune into the deep core in the true sense of the word of the body, and then allow that softness around that center line. And this is where that idea of flow and that idea of strength and softness combined together leads to that ability, that flexibility, that resistance. And it's difficult to feel. It's really difficult to feel. But if you spend a little bit of time doing it, and a little bit of time when you're out walking, a little bit of time when you're out running, just noticing these tiny movements. Okay, let's come back to that fist width apart with the feet, tall through the spine. So we've got this nice focus right down the center, deep core of the body, strong back of the body, soft front of the body. And then we're just going to shift the weight now side to side. Very subtle shift side to side. It's taken us half an hour and we haven't even stepped forward yet. The joy of movement. And again, feel that subtle ripple, wave, however you want to describe it, through the spine. So I could just tighten everything up and go, right, I'm just going to shift side to side and tighten everything up. Just soften and notice that little bit of a wave through the spine. Tiny movement. Subtle weight shift to the left, subtle weight shift to the right. How does your foot respond to that? How does your knee respond to that? Does your hip respond to that? Does your foot soften into the ground? Can you feel the arch of the foot lengthen out as you shift maybe a little bit of weight onto it, or does it stay tight? Can you soften into the ankles, soften into the feet? How are the toes responding to that? Now we're going to add a little bit of a spiral in it. So as, I think I'm mirroring you. I don't know if I've swapped the camera around or not. As you're moving to the left, as you're shifting the weight to the left, I want you to think about just very gently rotating the left hip forwards and then back, and then vice versa as you're going to the right. So we just almost like creating that little bit of a figure of eight, really small. I'm exaggerating the movement a little bit here to tiny movement. So again, just notice what happens. So as you shift into the right hip, pelvis rotates towards the right a little bit. As you shift to the left, pelvis rotates towards the left. Notice what happens in the knees, in the ankles, in the feet, in the rib cage, in the shoulders. Already doing this, my left side feels a little bit more fluid, a little bit more connected than the right side. Again, you may feel the same, you may feel opposite, you may feel pretty balanced. And then have a little shake out. And that was interesting because the minute I shook my right ankle, there was a nice big click in that right ankle. So have a little bit of a shake out. And then come back to fist width apart. Now we're going to take a step. So I want you to focus on, let's start with the right side of the body. So again, I will mirror you. Shift that weight towards the right side of the body. Feel the weight through the right side of the body, the whole side of the body. And then just peel that left heel. As you peel the left heel, supported on that right side of the body, and then just take a little step forwards with the left and place the foot down, bringing that weight back over. So you're shifting forward. So that right heel will then peel off the ground. Step back. So we're just going to focus on, we've got a couple of minutes left, just focus on the right side of the body a couple more times. So stabilize on the right, peel the left heel, and then step forwards. And do that one more time. Focus on the right, peel the left heel, step forwards. Now we're going to add a little bit of movement with that, with the upper body. So a little bit of conscious movement. So stabilize on the right, peel the left heel. And as you step forwards with that left foot, I want you to do a little bit of rotation here through the upper spine, excuse me, and bring that right shoulder forwards. And again, I'm not doing a big rotation there. So I'm balanced, right foot, stabilize on the right foot, peel the left heel. The left foot is coming through. As that left foot is coming through, your right shoulder. So balance, just play around about that a little bit. We've only done one side of the body and it's 8:30. You're going to have to do the other side of the body on your own, unless you go out walking like this all day long. So let's just do a couple more on this side. Actually, swap sides quickly. So stabilize on the left side now. I hope I'm mirroring you. Stabilize on the left. Peel the right heel. Do it without that rotation first and just step forwards. And notice what happens if you do it without the rotation. Oh, I'm going to lean back a little bit. So just do that, just lower body balance, stabilize, peel the heel, step through. And then add to it that little bit of connection. Now, what you could think of is almost like shortening that diagonal connection from the shoulder and the hip. That's quite a nice way of thinking about it. Something I was doing in my little Portuguese Pilates last night on the floor is connecting this shoulder to that hip. So that might be something you want to focus on, is the shoulder and hip. So we get in that very subtle rotation, but actually when you walk, you're hardly going to see that. It's not a big rotation. You can play around with it. You can really explore that contralateral movement using the arms, but it works really nicely just subtly doing this very, very gentle movement. Have a little shake out. Let's just finish off. Hopefully you're not rushing. Let's just do a couple of pulling downs, breathing in just to finish off the session. Breathing out. And then just a little bit of bamboo in the wind. Just closing your eyes. And then taking a nice calm, full breath in. Having a bit of a shake, having a bit of a brush down. Subtle, subtle, subtle stuff, but as we go through, it's so important. So as you go through today, don't overthink things, but just have a little play around with that whole spiral movement. Excellent. Thank you for joining as always. Sorry as we've run over a little bit. Good to see you all. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see you Monday for a little bit more focus on the breath. Bring your mats as well, because I think we'll do a little bit more of that stuff that we did on the floor on Monday. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, on Instagram. Thank you, everybody on Zoom. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.